Hello everybody and welcome to Illuminations with Tiina and Fi. And I'm Fi.
I'm Tiina, hi.
Hi. And today we've got the really easy topic to talk about, which is what is love. So we're going to focus for the next couple of illuminations on the whole concept of love and self-love. So Tiina, I got the spot where I introduced today, so you get the question. Aha, what is love?
Fi, let me tell you.
Please
It's
do.
interesting because, when we were collecting subjects for illuminations and what we wanted to talk about, this one came up and was like, oh yeah, let's do what is love? Great. And we just wrote it down. And then the closer that time has come to doing this episode, we've been like, what? Did we
Yeah.
really agree on that? What is love? It's such a big, big thing. I remember reading Stephen Covey.
Oh yeah.
With the idea that love is a feeling, and I still think love is a feeling, but he posted things saying, well, actually love is a verb, it's something that you do. And I think that could be a good place to start. While it is a feeling that we feel, it is also something that we do, which is manifested in our actions towards other people and of course to ourselves. So that's where I start. A verb, something
Okay.
we do. And I'll just kind of bounce that back to you.
That makes sense. I did a little bit of reading around this, other than the conversations I've had with you for the last how many years around what is love. And actually, do you know what book that sprung literally into my hands off the bookcase is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And I thought, okay, because I do remember doing it, working through it, and it really did help me with the partner I was with at the time to understand what was going on about incongruency. But bizarrely, in there, I'm going to have to look down because I wrote it down. He refers to Margaret Scott Peck, The Road Less Travelled. She wrote about love in that. And she says that very similar, that actually love is an active thing. It's a choice thing. She says it involves an act of the will and requires need for personal growth. Whereas when you fall in love, that falling in love, which I call Disney, that bit is you stop interest in other things because you become very into the person. You actually forget about their personal growth and yours because you are where you are, and that's not necessarily, she calls it obsessional love, and not necessarily what love is. But yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, emotional but not obsessional, unites reason and emotion, but I think involves an act of will.
Absolutely. But I also think that there's, obviously we've now started talking about love in a more intimate, adult, romantic, sexual kind of, so let's keep in that sphere. Obviously there's different kinds of love, but yeah, let's talk about that. I think it just goes through different phases. And yes, of course, there's that phase of falling in love and you're in seventh heaven and you're a bit doolally because your whole goes to this person and all you want to do is be with them. And of course, and it can be lovely, it's just one of the stages. And maybe it's love, maybe it's just, infatuation, maybe it's just lust, whatever it is. It's a lovely, lovely little bubble to be in for a little while, I think. And it's rare that we inhabit that space. It doesn't happen that many times in a lifetime, or maybe it does. I don't know, maybe it does for others. For me, it hasn't been that many times that I've kind of been in that, and to kind of allow that to be the beauty of what it is. But maybe it's not the love, the actual deeper love.
Yeah, and I then went to a book which I know I've talked about, Conscious Loving, and in fact I brought it over to you in Sweden on my last trip.
Yeah.
And I think this is really an interesting one because it talks about co-commitment. And I love this, a way to be fully together without giving up yourself. And this is by Gay Hendricks, who I'm sure we'll talk about at some point later when we talk about The Big Leap. And this book had a particular impact on me when I was going through, the breakup of a relationship. And it was quite inspirational and guided me through a lot of understanding around what had happened. And maybe there was the obsessional love that had gone on. And once that had gone, as they say, what are you left with? And I don't know whether we were left with the same thing for the partner I was with at the time and myself. And maybe that desire for personal growth wasn't on both sides. And that was quite hard. But what I picked up from conscious loving, and I apply this to all relationships, and in a way I actually feel that I even sometimes go through the falling in love with friends, the best mates for a while, kind of thing. And then, so I feel for me it can be applied to friendships and partner relationships or sexual relationships. And conscious loving, he talks about microscopic truths. And that really struck out for me because I feel for me in my life that's something I haven't brought into love. And I mean the broad context of love. And what's interesting is my newer relationships, like with you, we have some very difficult conversations because we talk truths. And that's been a massive change for me in helping love in relationships to flourish with true trust. So yeah.
So can you just very, very shortly and quickly tell us what is a microscopic truth for those who don't know?
Well, I hope you don't mind me using the example, but I had a whole load of stuff happen lately and was getting involved in stuff, and you kind of said to me, I feel a little bit envious, of what you is happening for you. And we talked about it, and we kind of worked through it. And I remember you having something amazing happened, and I was able to say, actually, yeah, there's a little, of course, there's like 80%, 90% of me absolutely delighted and full of joy. There was something that was like, oh, and talking about that, really helped kind of just put it to one side, gone. I mean, I couldn't even remember what we were talking about. So that's a microscopic truth. It's a truth that about a feeling or a thought that may not be comfortable, being a little bit uncomfortable. And by bringing that in and talking about the truth, you bring in trust, and also you bring in clarity around feeling and emotion. It's been in the arena, Brené Brown again, but it's been in the arena about honesty. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also in a relationship of whatever kind, that kind of honesty about, okay, this is a feeling that isn't that beautiful and lovely. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to open up my heart and show you the uglier side of me, and you're still going to love me, and you're going to understand, where I'm coming from, and it's okay. And I think that's where you kind of have a really deep relationship, and when there's like real unconditional love coming into it.
Yes.
I see the real you, and I see the beautiful good sides, but I also see the not so beautiful sides, and I might not always have to like all your actions or all of that, all those sides of you, but I still love you for who you are.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you can, it doesn't mean you say to someone that you love in a broadest context, something hurtful, as in, you look fat or you've got a spot on your nose, or, the feedback has to be about the microscopic truth is about yourself, and honesty around where you are. And the feedback is to enrich and enhance your relationship. It's not about power. And they talk about power struggle. Bizarrely, all the books talk about power struggle. That's quite an interesting one in itself. And how people use all sorts of, language to keep the power struggle and manage the power struggle in love.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I've only recently learned to start saying I love you to friends, as you know. I've brought people into my life that have been brilliant in helping me with that. Just realising I was loved very much as a child. And my parents, that's why this book was so helpful, The 5 Languages of Love, because I look back and I understand how my parents expressed love to me. And they just weren't into words. He has 5. I'm just going to go because people might want to know what they are. There's words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And I know my mum was acts of service, no question about it. And what do I do when I come and stay with you? I cook. It's my language of love. And so being able to speak is great, and I'm getting more comfortable with it, but it's taken a little time.
I think I haven't read the book, but I did do the questionnaire which identified my language of love. And I think it's a really useful exercise to do with a partner or a friend or whatever. But if you take, start with your partner and kind of go, this is how I express love. Usually that's the way that you would like love back as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you kind of realize, oh, so actually you cooking and doing all that. Oh, that's love. Oh, I didn't realize, because maybe for me, my language of love are words. I need to hear those sweet things all the time, blah, 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 blah. And then I go, oh, that's when I feel loved. And it's just like when you find that connection, it's like, oh, right, okay. Now I understand how you show love and how you would like me to show love to you. And then you have completely different play field.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing to do,
It is. And Gary Chapman, he says something like, you keep your emotional tanks full of your partner, friend, whatever, by speaking their language and by, being in their language of love or doing whatever their language of love is, that actually you're giving love. And that's the way, if they're responding, both of you keep your emotional tanks full, so you're able to love more. And I think that's delightful. Yeah.
And that really ties in with one thing that I want to bring with me from Gay Hendricks as well. And he said, ask your partner or even friend, whatever, but let's again play in the playfield of partners. Ask your partner a couple of times a week, what can I do to make your life better? What can I do to make your life better? A few times a week. What can I do to make your life better? Often that answer will be nothing at all, baby. You're here, Sometimes it is, what, if you could cook tonight, that would be great because I'm exhausted. And it's so simple.
That's lovely. And in fact, it's really interesting because that's happening to me at this time, which is a new thing for me, for someone to say that like that. And it's been really quite weird getting my head around it. It's like, oh, okay, right, well, actually. And it's really, really, because mine are acts of service, obviously. So someone cooking dinner or doing an act of service, like the washing machine's broken, doing the washing is like, great. So yeah, and I feel really special, and I then feel more loving, and the relationship feels very positive and enhancing. So have we explained what love is?
No. I think it's fun exploring of how you show love and things like that. I think it's a huge question. It's a huge question. But it's been interesting to explore it.
Yeah, and I think as you know, I do think we are sold from the moment we're told fairy stories. We are sold a story of what love is, and that's often, I think, gets in the way of people really finding what love actually can be. And I love it when you hear people who've been married for a long time talking about how they've done it, and it is not a Disney version of, you know, he rescued me from the castle. It's quite beautiful, you know. It's about trust, rapport, friendship, you know, allowing people to be them, loving them for their foibles, just not despite them. You know, it's real genuine love, you know, love. Which of course is that lovely Corinthians, you know. I've often read at friends' weddings in the past, if I've gone to a wedding and done a reading, you know, Corinthians 13, love is patient and kind, you know, it's there, out there in the world in some religious context, but also, you know, within, I think people are cottoning on a bit to what love is with maturity, maybe, as I don't know, as a society. But yeah. So
what's our question?
Well, I suppose for people, they might want to think about, we could do a higher level question, as in, so what is love for you? As in, what is love for you with friends? What is love for you with a partner or spouse? But also to think, you know, lower level, as in, okay, what could be your language of love? And therefore knowing that, you know, understanding that, kind of like, okay, so how can you talk to people about the microscopic truths of what they can do to help you have that, and maybe finding out friends and partners what their language of love is, and maybe using that back with them.
Okay, so a few questions this time. We'll write them out as well.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you, Tiina.
Oh, sorry?
Thank you, Tiina.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was talking and then you were talking and then I didn't hear you.
I think we've kind of like, that's it for today. Ta-da! Succinct. Thank you very much, Tiina. And next time it's the even more exciting area of loving oneself.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yes.
Bye, Fi.
Bye, Tiina. Thank you.